Hello, and welcome to What Are We Reading? I'm Llytic.
That's my opinion on what we're about to read today. Hi, it's Tom.
Oh, shit, and we are gonna do Legolas by Laura.
Oh, no.
This is going to hurt you.
This is yeah. I guess this is payback for making you suffer through all the Peter Chimera stuff.
All right, I'll start us off with this.
Oh, boy.
Legolas was riding through the forest, and one day he found a baby waped in Kulth, so he got off his horse and went to the baby, and then Legolas said, "Who left you here, little one?" And then the baby just cried, and then Legolas picked her up and hold her, and then the baby stopped crying, and then Legolas said, "Your name is going to be Laura," and then Legolas and the baby went onto the horse, and then went back to the castle where he lived.
Wow. I made a joke about us passing out at some point in time, but good Lord, if more fan fictions are written like this, it might actually happen.
And that one sentence might have been longer than the entirety of Repercussions of Evil.
Nah.
Okay, half the length.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, one, I'm pretty sure that Laura is not a name that you see in like any elven language.
It's not an elvish name. This is obviously a self-insert or something. For some reason, people love elves and all sorts of fan fiction when really they're just magical beings with pointed ears who die to a stiff breeze.
Die to a stiff breeze? Jesus! What elves have you been looking at?
Any elves that are actually real. Like in the original, in like in third edition D&D, for like stat changes, they had -2 Constitution, if that tells you anything. And Constitution is what determines how many hit points you have.
Fair enough. We're also talking about beings that are biologically immortal.
Yes, but they break like twigs. The only reason they don't die more is because they're a lot faster.
That speed helps out. Also, it's kind of obvious it's self-insert, considering the fact that the writer's name is Laura.
Yeah.
All right. Legolas said, "Father, mother, I found this little baby in the woods." And then Legolas' mother got up and walked down and said, "How could people put baby in the woods and to die?" And then Legolas' father said, "We are going to keep her." And then Legolas was happy for summarizing.
And now I'm up, aren't I? Let the hate flow through you, young Skywalker.
Kill him.
10 years later, Legolas got up and went into Laura's room and said, "Good morning." And then Laura said, "Good morning, too." And then Legolas said, "What's the matter?" And then Laura said, "I want to know how to ride a horse." Then Legolas said, "Okay." And then Legolas said, "First you get dresses and have something to eat, and then we will go for a horse ride lesson." Meanwhile, Strider and Gandalf was riding towards where Legolas lived, and then Strider said, "Gandalf, I did not know Legolas had a sister." And then Gandalf said, "I did not know as well." Meanwhile, at Mondor, the Dark Lord was planning to kidnap the princess, but not Legolas. Then the boss of the orcs came and said, "I'll get her for you, sir." And then the Dark Lord said, "Yes, you can."
"I'll get her, sir." "Yes, you can."
Okay, Legolas. Okay, for the record, Legolas lives in Lothlorien. No, wait. No, that's where Galadriel lives.
What is it? Mirkwood?
Mirkwood. That's it. Yeah, I need to reread those books. I read it once in 6th grade, and I scored perfectly on the AR test. But I'm focusing on the good that is Tolkien to avoid having a heart attack.
I marathoned the movies a few times.
The movies are okay. They just leave out a lot,
as opposed to the Hobbit movies, which are also
don't get me started.
Which are also
if they were good,
which are also okay. They just add a lot.
Yeah, and okay, if they wanted to make multiple movies for The Hobbit, they could have easily done it in 2, and they could have gotten everything in the book. Yeah. Like the parts they did right, they did right.
Yeah. I mean,
but
Cumberbatch humping the ground for motion capture, they did that right.
But just Toriel, okay, yeah, she's a cool character, but I mean, like the healing that she was able to do was only able to be done by like Elrond and like 3 other people, and it was like very advanced. You know what? I'm just gonna leave this for a rant for another time.
Meanwhile, Legolas and Laura was horse riding, and then Laura said, "Legolas, who's that?" And then Legolas looked, and it was Gandalf and Strider. Legolas said, "That is Gandalf and Strider." And then Strider said, "Legolas." And then Legolas said, "Strider, long time seen." And then Strider said, "How's you?" And then Legolas said, "I am fine." And then Gandalf said, "Who's this then?" And then Legolas said, "Meet Laura. I found her in the woods when she was just a baby." Also, apparently they haven't seen each other in 10 years.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, well, in elf years, that's not too terribly long, but
in like ranger years and wizard
well,
years.
to be fair, rangers do live a lot longer than regular humans.
Not as long as elves.
I think Legolas was, or not Legolas. I think Aragorn was like, I don't know. I think he was like in his 60s when he fought against the One Ring and everything. He looked like he was in his 30s or 40s.
True. Laura was shy at first, and then Legolas said, "Laura, come and meet Strider and Gandalf." And then Laura said, "Hello, I am Laura." Legolas said, "She is the princess." And then Strider said, "She is so cute."
Phrasing.
I'm imagining Strider saying this.
I'm imagining Viggo Mortensen saying this.
She is so cute. And then Legolas said, "That will be my falute." And then Gandalf said, "Why?" Why?
That's the question I'm asking right now.
And then Laura said, "He protects me, that's why." And then Legolas looked up and said, "I think we should go back to the castle." And then Laura said, "I can feel it too."
Okay, elves aren't psychic.
Neither are human children, usually.
Well, I mean, it's a little girl. There's a higher possibility that she's psychic than Legolas.
Have
you not seen like any horror movie with a psychic kids? It's usually some blonde little girl.
Also usually written by Stephen King.
Well, he was the one who invented the trope. Now everyone uses it.
Continued using it.
Legolas said, "Do you want to stay for a night?" And then Gandalf and Strider said, "Yes, please." And then they had tea and went to bed.
It's a slumber party.
It's like, hey, this isn't British enough. Let's add tea and make it British. During the night, Legolas asked the guards to keep an eye on Laura's room. Meanwhile, the orcs climbed up the window and grabbed Laura, and then Laura woke up and screamed, and then the guard went into her room and saw lots of orcs, and then Legolas ran down the hall. Then Legolas said, "Where is Laura?" And then the guard said, "The orcs took her."
You don't say. You daft nonce.
You don't say. I couldn't tell by all the orc blood around here, or the lack of. Do your job.
Guards? Or is it guards?
Or is it jards? I don't know.
Guards!
Jards!
Meanwhile, the orcs back at Mondor and... Meanwhile, the orcs was back at Mondor, and then Laura said, "Put me down," and then the orcs did. And then the Dark Lord came out of the fire and said, "Welcome, Laura." And then Laura looked at him and said, "No, it can't be." And then Laura tried to run away, but the orcs got her.
Oh, no. That's the best thing that's happened this story.
Then the Dark Lord said, "Put her in the cell and bet her and also do whatever you want, but do not kill her." Then the orcs took her to the cell and throw her in the cell, and then they shut the door. Laura go up and went to the window and looked out, and she was wishing that Legolas or someone will save her. Meanwhile, back at the castle of Milkwood...
This is such a bastardization of the Lord of the Rings universe.
I kind of hope this is legitimate. Mostly because I'm a bastard.
Yeah, you are.
Legolas was getting the army ready to go and save Laura. Meanwhile, Laura was sitting on the floor, and then the door opened, and it was some orcs, and the orcs tied Laura with some chains, and then the orcs striped her, and then... What?
I don't like where this is going.
No, you don't. And then he raped her, and then Laura said, "Go away, you bastard."
This is horrible.
Yes, it is. Then another orc came with a whip and wiped her hard, and then orcs all to geet her, bet her almost to death. How do you bet someone to death?
Well, well, if you go to an illegal like horse betting place.
Oh God. Where's my money?
I don't have it. Ah, my hand.
Hey, break his kneecaps. Show him how we treat debtors.
Oh, jeez.
And then the Dark Lord came in with a tube of poison and he had cheated into Laura. What?
Phrasing. Oh, no. Oh, this is terrible.
Yes.
A few hours later, Legolas and the others was on the way to Mondor to save Princess Laura. Meanwhile, in the cell where Laura was being kept, Laura looked up and she looked on her body. There was blood and scars. She only could move her right arm, but not her left. And Laura said, I feel so cold. And then she can't see very well. At the front gates of Mondor was Legolas and the others. And then they said, let Laura go. And then the Dark Lord said no. And then Legolas said, right, listen, I will climb up to the cell and get Laura, and you and the others will find another way in. Then Strider said, all right, and then Legolas started to climb up. Meanwhile, Strider and the others ran into Mondor and went into the castle. Gandalf said, I will go and kill the Dark Lord, and you and the others go and help Legolas. Strider said, be careful, and then Gandalf said, I will, don't you worry about me. This is terrible.
Yes. Meanwhile, Legolas got to the cell where Laura is. Legolas said, Laura, are you in there? And then Laura said, oh, Legolas, you finally came. And then Legolas said, are you all right? And then Laura said, no, I am not all right.
Obviously not.
And then Legolas said, they bet you up and raped you. Also, the Dark Lord gave you the potion. And then Laura said, how did you know? Then Legolas said, when I was your age, they did the same thing to me.
Oh, no. I mean, I've heard all elves are female until proven otherwise. But...
Wait.
That's horrible. Where is this going?
Little 12-year-old Legolas.
Oh, no. That's even worse.
She was a baby when he found her, and it's 10 years after that.
She's 10. That's part of what makes this so
10 to
messed
12.
up.
Oh, God. Then Laura said, can you get me out of here? And then Legolas said, okay, stand back. And then he ran back and ran towards the door and knocked it down.
Laura said, wow. And then Legolas looked and saw she was coved in blood and scars. And she was naked. He just now noticed this. And then Legolas said, why they did it to you, not me. And
but
then
they did do it to you.
And then the orcs came and said, because she got a power and she can destroy all the bad guys.
She can destroy us, all the bad guys. Destroy. Hey, yo, destroy his kneecaps. Oh, God. Then the fright began.
The fright. The fright has been going on this entire time. Thank you very much.
Legolas got out his bow and arrows and started firing at them.
I think this was mine, honestly.
You want to go ahead with this one?
Yeah. Then Legolas saw some sword and said, Strider, is that you? And then Strider said, yes, it is. Phrasing. And then Legolas and the others started to kill the orcs. Meanwhile, Gandalf is have a fun time trying to destroy the Dark Lord. Please destroy this post. Gandalf said, I wish Frodo and Merry and Pippin and Sam was here. And then a sword came out of nowhere and said, some wished us here. Then Gandalf turned and said, Frodo Baggins, why are you doing here? Then Frodo said, we came to help you, and also we got rid of the ring. And then the Dark Lord said, oh no. And then the magical powers from Gandalf destroyed the Dark Lord. Okay.
Meanwhile, Legolas and Strider and the others was helping Laura down, and Strider took off his cape and put it around Laura.
Oh,
Thank
no.
you, Strider.
Well, that was nice of him. The only good guy move. Okay, and they're making Legolas more like Drizzt as in he's emo.
Wait, what?
Yeah, Drizzt is a character in the D&D universe. Kay had a good drow elf who had escaped from drow society and is now super emo all the time.
When did Legolas get emo?
I don't know. Like, I think the part where he said, "Why did this happen to you and not to me?" was like saying, "Oh, I wish this had happened to me." And then he went and cried Linkin Park lyrics or something.
We did cried Linkin Park lyrics.
I wish I could claim originality for that.
Oh, well, I mean, it technically did happen to him, though. So maybe he's just a masochist.
Or he's just into that. I mean, who am I to judge?
Meanwhile, wait, shit, no.
A few hours later, Legolas and the others are on the way back to the castle. Legolas said, "We must go to Rivendell and to get Laura better." Oh, so now you get something right. Looking at you, Mondor.
Milkwood.
Then Gandalf said, "I think you are right." And then they turned around and went to Rivendell. Legolas looked down on Laura and put his hand onto Laura's head, and she was bruning up. Oh no, bruning up.
Does Bruno Mars is gay?
Strider went aside of Legolas' horse and looked and said, "She is getting worse." And then Legolas said, "I know."
I know, jackass.
I just felt her head. She is bruning up.
I catch a grenade for you.
In the arms of the angel.
I was going for Bruno Mars lyrics, but okay.
Well, I was going for something emotional, and that's the first thing that came to mind.
God. Few hours later, they were at Rivendell, and Legolas stayed at Laura's side every day until she wakes up, and then Legolas kissed Laura on her lips, and she moved her arms around Legolas, and then Legolas said, "All you all right?" And then Laura said, "Yes, I am."
She is 10.
She's like at least a few hundred.
I know.
Legolas said, "I am so happy." And then Laura said, "Do you want to be
Oh my, no.
And then Legolas said, "Yes, I will be your boyfriend." And then Laura and Legolas kissed again. Ew. Ew.
She's 10.
Ew.
This has gone from bad to worse.
Laura said, "What happened to me, Legolas?" And then Legolas said, "You got kidnapped by the orcs and they raped you."
Don't sugarcoat it at all.
And they also bet you almost to death, and then the Dark Lord gave you Symposion. Well, bedside manner of a fucking saint. What happened to me? Well, you see.
Here's what happened. I'm not going to spare you any of the details.
This might traumatize you, but...
But it's too late for that. You've already been traumatized. I'm just going to make it worse.
And then Laura said, "Why can I only move on arm?" And then Legolas said, "Your left arm is broken." And then the door opened, and it was Strider. And then Laura said, "Hello, Strider." And then Strider said, "I see you are awake." And then Laura...
Thank God it's over.
Mid-sentence. Oh, God.
Oh. Oh, no. There's more of them.
There's not more of this.
If you haven't had enough yet, you can find more of Legolas by Laura at TV Tropes, where the story is analyzed at length.
Oh, okay. No, TV Tropes, that's just listing out the cliches that are in it.
Yeah, the live-action movie trailer. This may very well be the most awesomely funny thing ever. I'm not going to watch that, just so you know.
Oh, it's great.
One of the many dramatic readings, the Sugar High version, because I love this. More versions can be found by searching for Legolas by Laura on YouTube.
I might honestly link the animated version someone did of Man Without a Body's dramatic reading because it's hilarious.
I might check that one out. Anyway.
This is Llytic.
And this is Tom. See you next time.
See ya.